Okay, we are live right now. So I'm going to redo what I just said. Okay, guys, I apologize. So if anybody is trying to watch Behind Bars live, you can join through YouTube or Facebook Live. We are streaming right now live and you can get on. We are also, if you would like to join our panel and not like your show your face, that's fine also. We don't care as long as you would like to speak, that's fine. You can just cover your camera up. And if you are on our panel, I will directly send you a link and that's how you get on. It's really easy. So if anybody's wanting to get on, I encourage you to message Jules. She's the one who does the scheduling, and you can get on Behind Bars in the 505. Thank you. I would like to welcome our guests, Kimberly Jaramillo and Sabrina Jaramillo, aka Tiny, and then my co-host, Jules.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How is everybody?
Okay.
Doing good. Hanging in there. Still sober.
That's good.
I read that.
Okay, Jules, you want me to start?
If you would like to, you could start, or I will,
You
whichever
can
one.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, who wants to go first? Or do you want to just go ahead and ask the question and let both of them answer at different times, or you want to do separate?
I don't know, how do you want to do it? We can do 30 and 30, or whoever has a TV, could you pause it or like mute it or something? No. Just because we could hear
No,
it.
I think that was my niece and my daughter because my daughter came in and she's
Oh
on
yeah,
speakerphone with
yeah.
with
Okay,
my
that's
niece.
fine. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, well, I don't know. How do you want to do it, Jules?
Okay, who would like to go first?
I'll
Doesn't
get it
matter
out
to
of the way.
me.
Me first.
Okay.
Me first.
All
I
right.
get nervous.
All right. Sabrina, before your charges began, what was your lifestyle like and what brought on your charges?
Okay, so what brought the lifestyle on? I've lived the lifestyle of, the gangster life or the thug life as they called it, being from California. So I was always a wild child. So drugs and stealing cars and parties weren't new to me. So, but what brought on my charges was I had lost everything in my life, or I felt like I did, and I gave up. So I decided to commit the ultimate crime in my book, which was a home invasion. So that's what led up to that. And what was the other question?
And you pretty much answered it. What brought on your charges?
Yeah, like I said, I just felt like I lost everything. My world crumbled down, and so I had never had a felony before. I've never been in trouble in my life, except for like a speeding ticket or a dog on the loose kind of thing. But when I sat there and I lost everything in 2014, I just in 2015 made a decision to sit there
And
and
what
commit my
about
crime.
for you, Kim? What before your charges began? What was your lifestyle like, and what brought on your charges?
My lifestyle was pretty good. I was with a man that I thought was a good man, and we were making plans for the future. And all of a sudden, drugs got involved, and life started crumbling down. He turned around and got a 10-year restraining order on me. And cops, there's no police report that I've ever seen that warranted that. And then in 2015, I found my 22-year-old son overdosed and dead in his bed. And I spiraled fast, out of control on that one. And who did I try to reach out to? But my ex-boyfriend. And instead of trying to console me or be there for me, he turned me into the police, and I ended up getting 4 years in prison.
Wow.
Wow.
For violating the restraining order.
I didn't hear that.
For violating the restraining order?
Yes,
Wow.
aggravated stalking, 4th-degree felony.
Dang.
Did the judge not listen to you, or did you tell your lawyer about that? Like, what
Oh,
was the reason?
yeah, but I don't know how he did it. You know, money talks, and to get a 10-year restraining order, you know, a man get one on a woman. I can see it if it's true. If you really are violent, but I didn't own a gun. I didn't own knives. Nothing in the restraining order stated any kind of a violence.
So you never had a criminal record until this time,
I
like Sabrina?
back in years and years ago, I got caught with some drugs, and I had a drug charge. But no, just like speeding tickets, and I lived in Rio Rancho at the time, and in Rio Rancho, if you adopt an animal from the Humane Society, you have to get it spayed or neutered. I took the cat back, and they never put anything through to the judge, and I ended up getting a warrant for not getting my cat neutered
Oh my goodness.
and went
Oh
to
my
jail
God.
for a weekend. Yes. And then that's about the extent of it.
Wow.
That's what happened to me too. I went to jail for 6 days for a dog.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel
Wow.
like your husband or your ex might have known somebody or politically, because I personally have never seen in a DV case a judge give a 10-year thing. They do it.
Exactly.
The first one is a 1 year. And
Exactly.
then they extend it to 2, and then after that it goes to a 5 and then a 10.
Yes, exactly. And it went straight to a 10.
Wow.
I went before the judge 3 different times to get the restraining order canceled. And I was living in Clovis. He was in Rio Rancho. We were like 5 hours away from each other. And she says, I'm sorry, and I sympathize with your tears, but the restraining order is staying as is.
Wow. It was a female
Yeah.
judge? Oh, he definitely had to know them. That's so crazy.
It's very crazy, but like I said, money talks.
Oh,
And
I
it's the
know,
people, it's people who you know too. You know that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
That's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mhm. Okay, so
Yeah.
our next question will be for Sabrina. How were you feeling when you got sentenced? Like, what was your mental state? Is that right, Joe?
My mental
Yeah, like in other words, like how did you feel when you first got sentenced? Like we all know that our families, they get devastated when we get sentenced to go to prison. As for you, some people even sometimes feel like they don't care, like just send me already. I'm tired. I want to just, do my time, or there's some people that are devastated themselves as well. So how did you feel the first time when the judge sentenced you to prison, and how long were you sentenced to?
I was sentenced to a total of 31 years because I traumatized the people that I held hostage. But I didn't expect to get the 31 years. It's like, fully, I thought they were honestly going to stock it to me that way. But when they told me how much time they were going to give me, and it was up to the judge to give me from 1 year all the way to the 31, or if he wants to just give me 5, or it was up to him, whatever it was. But still, that was just a long way from my family, because I was still fighting for my other children, and my other children were coming back into my life, my older ones. And to be away from them was like the worst part because I'm just getting them home. I'm still trying my hardest to get there, and now I do something stupid. It shouldn't cost me 31 years of my life. It really hit me because this is my first time going to prison. This, when I did my little time there, but having uncles and brothers and everybody that stays there for years and years and years and come out, and missing everything. And I knew that I was just going to miss everything. So it hit me really hard. I didn't know what to do. And then when I sat there and they told me that the length of time that they were going to give me, and then when the judge was going to sentence me, that whole 2 weeks that I was there, just waiting to be sentenced was really rough. It was really rough for me because I didn't know what to expect. And you know how you kick yourself in the butt after you do things, it's going to cost you a lot of time. So
Right.
I just kicked myself in the ass for the whole thing. But I couldn't.
And Kim, what about for you?
For me, it was a little bit different. After Andrew had passed, his funeral and all of that stuff kind of broke me off from my family. I like I said, I spiraled out of control. It's a brain fog even to now, of what I was doing and where I was and things like that. So at the time I went ahead and was kind of relieved, I would say, because I was tired of the drugs. I was tired of this. I was tired of that. And I was broke off from my family already. And I knew the only way to get back in their good graces was if I cleaned up and if I changed. So I was shocked at the years that I got, but I wasn't shocked at going to prison. Now, what scared the life out of me was going to Grants with the big towers and all that stuff. But once I got to Springer and I just threw myself into RDAP and
Uh-oh. I don't know what happened. You're there, Mom.
Go
ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay.
Did you hear it?
What else did you say after RDAP?
I just threw myself into RDAP, threw myself into school, and the time went faster than it went pretty fast. If you stay busy and stay motivated, and that's what I did. I didn't let myself fall into a depression that, I kept the hope that I'd be reunited with my family after I got out. I didn't want them to have to go through the pain of knowing that I was behind bars.
Right. So then how did you prepare yourself mentally to go to prison while you were in county waiting to be transported? Well, what did you do? What did you tell yourself? What kind of self-talk?
Well, first of all, I talked to a lot of people that had already been, there, and were on their second, third rounds back to prison. And then I just also told myself, hey, this has saved my life. Because if I would have kept on with the drugs and the rough life that I was going at, then at my age, I would have ended up dead. I really would have.
Right. And Sabrina, how about you? How did you prepare yourself mentally while you were waiting for transport to go to prison? Considering this was your first time, what did you tell yourself?
Okay, so this is gonna sound funny, I swear. Okay, so I was preparing myself for prison life like the way I was brought up knowing about it in California, watching the movies, understanding the stuff that my uncles were telling me. So I was mentally preparing myself for that kind of a possible situations, you know what I mean? And Yeah, so for the longest time, that's like, growing up, you hear that, and now I'm going to prison. And here, I've never been in New Mexico prison. I've never been to California prison, just going to visit. I said, and now it's my turn to do it. Is it going to be as bad as the men sit there and they tell you it is when you're in RDC? Or, are they going to lock me down because of who I am or my affiliations? Because, so I was like, it was just a big old thing for me because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I was going to have to sit there and be the hardcore one but then just figured out that, all right, let's just hurry up and get this over with and see what I can do. And maybe I could adapt just a little bit better. And maybe I could just blend in with the scenery.
Did you
'cause
ask,
like I said, if it says, huh?
you ask any of the women that have gone in and out of prison like Kim did?
I did. I ended up, because like I said, when I sat there and the first 9 months I was hearing about prison, about how some of the girls it was CCA at the time, how it was just like a dormitory full of females and either just bunk beds, or I don't know how else they explained it to me, or if that was just grants or however it was, or the transition that was happening when I was getting ready to go to prison. And they're like, no, it's fine. You're going to like it there. Everybody loves everybody there. And we're all tight knit family and you're going to be fine. You know what I mean? It'll be all right. We'll all be there. And
Right.
so, but still in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right. So uncles always told me, don't trust people when you're in prison, make your friends, pick and choose wisely. So it was just it was just like a total difference for me to try to adjust and adapt because I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first time.
So once you hit RDC and you kind of got a little bit of a taste of what it was like in RDC, how did you prepare to get ready to go into population? Like, did you hear anything about any kind of programs? Like, tell me what you thought about before you went into population. Sabrina.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Tiny?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's my phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. When I got there, I didn't know anything about RDAPT or anything. I was just told that if you sit there and just do these classes, if you do these classes, that you'll get time shaving off of your time. And I was excited for it. I was like, all right, cool. Heck yeah, I didn't know what it really was. Never heard of RDAPT, never heard of IOP, none of that. And so I was like, okay, well, they're like, well, you want to get a job, you need to get a job. But my biggest thing was seeing Western and the towers, like Kim said, and the dude at the top with a gun and rifle, whatever. And it was just, I didn't want to stay in that facility. And I was like, I heard there was 2 of them, and I didn't think I was going to go to the Springer because of my charges. They were too violent. And I went, but as I'm getting ready to sit there and go,
Oh, where?
We lost her.
Go ahead and go, Kim. I hope she'll get back on. I don't know what happened.
All right. When I first got over to RDC, I was only in RDC for 2 weeks. Thank God. But I was worried, like Sabrina, that because of the fact that they threw the aggravated on there, that people were telling me that I would probably end up staying at Western. And I was freaking out because I did not like Western. The gates and the towers, that scared me, And everybody talked about how open Springer was and, how much more laid back it was and stuff. So I was just like, I was trying to mentally prepare to stay at Western, but I was hoping, putting it out in the universe, that I was not staying there. And when they told me I was going to Springer and woke me up at 3:00 in the morning, told me to get prepared. So I was pretty pleased with that. The ride was hell, but once you got there, it was cool.
Sabrina, did you want to finish up what you were saying? I think she's frozen.
Is she frozen? That's so crazy.
Yep.
Shoot, kind of drew a blank. No, we could just keep moving on. It's fine.
I think she's freezing up, Rhiannon.
Are you okay, Tiny? Is it freezing? What is going on with it?
It could be her wireless, her connection, internet.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Let's try this again. I think it's maybe my phone. I don't know. But yeah, nothing made me mentally prepared. Like she was saying, I didn't want to stay at Western. I was already feeling claustrophobic as it was being in a room with all those women like that.
Mhm.
You know, I know that Springer wasn't any different, but it was a lot more roomier.
Yeah.
Rhiannon, you want to go ahead and ask some questions?
I can't remember what the other one was. Jules, go ahead.
Okay. Kim, did you develop any mental health issues while being incarcerated? For example, when you got out, did you have institutionalized habits?
Yes.
In prison, I know it's traumatic in itself, or was there any mental health issue because of any kind of like misuse of psych meds or anything like that?
No,
So
I
did you
didn't have
develop anything?
When I left Springer, when I left prison, I went to a program for a year. So it was more or less that I was still like being told what to do and stuff like that, but also having freedom at the same time. So I
Right.
was kind of like warmed into being back into society.
Okay. What about you, Sabrina? Did you have any mental health issues when you left prison? I think she's still freezing up.
Mhm.
Tiny. What's going on? I guess we'll go to the next question with Kim, and we'll come back to her whenever it's
Okay.
I don't understand.
Okay, Kim, let's talk about addiction. You mentioned that you were once involved in some addictions. How did your addiction affect you while being incarcerated? And how did the previous addiction habits of the past affect you when you got out, baby?
When I was in prison, I didn't do any drugs. But when I was in county, yes, I did. I did them as they came in. And once I was in that vehicle on my way to Western, and I was scared to death with, oh, they'll give you more time, you'll get all your time, all the negative talk, and I talked myself out of it. And it really didn't affect me when I got out, because like I said, I went to the program and I had already been dried out, and I had already put it in my mind that I didn't want that life anymore. And so it didn't really affect me. I did break ties with a lot of people and places and things. And I do have triggers to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I was like, oh, if I was still doing drugs, I'd be able to handle this, But it doesn't go any further than just a slight thought in my head, and then it's back out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with them triggers?
I've learned a lot of coping skills. I do meditation. I do breathing. I do the tapping. I will take walks. I have a service dog. He's a shepherd, and I throw myself into. I'm doing some hand signal training with him right now, and I just try to keep myself busy doing other things.
Good. Now tell the viewer, Kim, a message or advice or a resolution to a person transitioning into society that have done some time in prison. Tell them some words of encouragement. What would you say to our viewers?
I would say stay strong. Remember what it's like inside and find, I don't know, I cannot put a number on the support and the groups. But an idle mind is a bad mind. An idle mind is the devil mind. You don't want to be like that, or you will spiral back down.
Right. So stay busy, stay focused, and
Stay
never give
focused.
up.
That's right. That's right. You know, and you know, we might fall off the bandwagon, but you know what? The thing is don't stay down. Get back up. Run to those NA meetings. Run to those AA meetings.
So you mentioned earlier that you had to stay away from certain individuals in your life. You're basically like old people that you did a lot of drugs with or whatever. How did you do that? And what was their reaction to you saying you can't be around them any longer?
I pretty much just changed Facebook. I changed everything that had a tie to them. Once I went to jail, people knew I was in jail. Some knew I was going on to prison. I had no contact with anybody while I was inside. There was one person I trusted that put money on my books. It was my money that I trusted to keep me going while I was in there.
Mhm.
And that was it. But everybody else, it's like I fell off the face of the earth. And that was the best way for me to be able to cope with me. Because at the same time I was dealing with prison and jail and stuff, I was grieving for my son.
Right.
I had not even had time to grieve his death, let alone deal with family and deal with friends and deal with the world itself.
Right. Tiny, are you still frozen?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We got
Okay.
her back.
I'm not too sure where we left off with you, but did you?
How was her mental health?
Okay. So, how was your mental health when you came out of incarceration? Did you have any kind of institutionalized habits? Any kind of like PTSD? Did you have any kind of issues?
I had issues going in because I was already diagnosed with my diagnosis, so I was already taking pills for depression and bipolar and all that good stuff.
Uh-huh.
And but when I got out, the anxiety is what hit me twice as hard as normal because I didn't know what to do with it at first. But when you're home for the first 2 weeks, it was kind of crazy. Couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep in the bed. I couldn't be in my room. I had to be on the couch in the living room with the TV on. And with the front door a little bit open sometimes for some reason, and then it had to be locked, and it was just, I was going through the whole anxiety where you can't sleep and you're like restless, and I never experienced that before. I mean, my anxiety before was totally different with the hyperventilation, but this was totally different for me. And then going outside.
How did you deal with those new symptoms being out?
I went to the doctor and they just upped my anxiety pills for me, and then I started seeing a therapist, and she was helping me with my breathing and stuff, and she would give me these coping skills to do it. So it worked out for a really good time until I got it all under control and kind of in balance, because when you're in prison and you want to do good, you want to go out there and get out and hit the pavement, and that's what my whole intentions were when I got out of prison, which is to go out there, hit the pavement. But it kind of backfired on me for like a whole month that I was out because I couldn't go outside because of my anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, were you ever addicted to any kind of drugs or alcohol or anything?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
How did your
Um,
addiction out in the streets affect you when you went into prison?
when I did this crime that I got charged for, I wasn't high. I wasn't on drugs. I mean, I had stopped like a couple of days before, but I was still, clean and sober into my book. But the adjustment going from there to jail, it was just, it didn't matter to me if I was high or if I wasn't, and I just wanted to go home. That's all my biggest thing was. I never did drugs when I was in jail. I never did drugs when I was in prison, because I always told myself, if you cannot stay clean in jail, you're not going to stay clean out there.
Right. Right.
That's what I always told myself. So.
So, taken by your answer, when you came out of prison, your addiction, you pretty much had a handle over, or did it still kind of creep up because of the anxiety?
No, when I got out, my inability to use was great. I was in a new city. We had just moved into Albuquerque because I usually stay in Belen, and Albuquerque was totally new to me. And so when I got out, it was all right because my other half was clean, and then he was doing the right thing. So we kept each other clean for a while, but I didn't start using because of my anxiety. I started using because of the loss and the hurt, because the pandemic had just hit, and people were dropping left and right, and I couldn't take it. So that's when I started using again when I got out. It took me 2 years to use when I got out.
And did you get clean and sober again?
Yeah, I'd gotten in trouble. The pandemic was it was dying down, and they were opening up the probation office, and I had been dirty, and then I just kept dropping one dirty after another for her, and she sent me to MATS for 11 days. She told me it's either you go to MATS or you go back to prison, and I was like, all right, MATS, I go. That's where I went, and I got clean. I stayed there for the whole 11 days, and that's where I got clean.
Wow.
How many days have you been
Right on.
clean?
I've been clean for over a year now. I screwed up because, of course, somebody had to pass away, and it was too close to my heart, and I just picked up and used. So, but I've been clean as of 2/2/22. That was the last time I picked up.
Right on.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Hope
Thank
that
you very
stay
much.
clean. Now tell the viewers a message, some advice, a resolution as well. To those that are coming out, give them some words of encouragement.
What I can say is, prison was either an experience for you to understand that you want to stay there, or you want to go home, you want to change your life. I know people that are there that want to be there because they can't make it out here, because they didn't have a chance. Things out here are different from what they were before, and they sit there and they may not tell you this, but when you're getting out, they may sit there and say it's going to be all right, but I'm going to tell you it's not going to be all right. But it's up to you if you want it. Believe me, because I know that it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be, rough, but if it was easy, we'd all be doing it. And the fact of the matter is that you can do it when you get out. Just remember, for females, our crown always tips to the side, but it's up to us to make that sucker straight every day. Keep pushing forward. It'll be a great experience. And struggles are going to be there left and right. Believe me, I know. But I'm going to tell you now, you can do it. Perseverance is the key. Remember, the sky isn't the limit; it's all the way past the universe, and we could reach it no matter how many times we fall. You guys
Oh,
got
that's
this.
great.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
That's really
Rhiannon, you
good.
have anything?
I think that was great, and I'm so like humbled by your guys' story and everything that you talked about, because it was so honest, and I'm so grateful for you guys being our guest. I would like to thank you, and oh my gosh, it was so good, guys. Oh, it was so good. That's
Thank
it.
you for the invitation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you guys on behalf of Behind Bars in the 505, him, my AKA, my mom. When we lived together, and some people would sometimes try to take advantage of my mom using her little, what was your little thing? She had a little tablet thing, and I would be like, I'm like, here, mom. I would give her my player, and I would take hers, and I would look out for her because she was so nice. And when you're in prison, there's some people that are like, it's like a Shark Tank, right? And then there's
I still have
piranhas.
that tablet too.
Hey, there's not just sharks, there's piranhas in there, so, and then you meet this nice little lady like my mom, who's out there handing out her coffee and all her commissary. I'm like, you guys are not going to take advantage of this lady. So I took her under my wing, and we became like family, and I call
Yep.
her mom, and I still do, and I always will. She in fact came and she sat with me right on this couch. Remember, Mom?
Yep,
She was
I remember.
She was here in my house, and even Tiny, she's like my sister. We were talking about so much stuff yesterday, and I just feel so overwhelmed with love, because no matter what, we have this bond and this connection that we went through all this stuff together, and I'm just so proud of you
Mhm.
guys. And Tiny, you're overcoming, and you're gonna get a better job, and you're gonna be doing great. Pretty soon you're gonna get a car. I'm praying for you to get a car next.
Thank you. I need it.
Well, because a little prayer helps out.
Yep.
It sure does.
And then we went and we visited Jules yesterday, and it was neat to be able to, like, all of us be together, and we kind of came up with our questions, and we're moving along. I feel like this podcast has really opened up a space for us to all connect and to be together and do things. We're trying to plan an event, hopefully maybe next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
Well,
being
it's great.
incarcerated, some of us become family in there. There's
Exactly.
some of us that don't have a family out here or the family support. And then there's some of us that do, that we still create a bond in prison,
Yep.
and Rhiannon making this platform and the Behind Bars in the 505, that it's so awesome to see the women just sharing pictures, sharing memories, sharing those of us that have done time with us that have passed on. This can also be a podcast to women, empowering women to give each other a lift up. You know what I mean? And then lift other women up when we are up.
That's
And
right.
not to tear each other down, and still continue to be a family and support one another. And, like all of us know about addiction, a lot of us know about mental health issues and what it was like to be incarcerated and stuff. And so we want you all to know that we are there for each other. If ever there is somebody out there that just needs somebody to talk to, so that way they don't commit suicide, or they don't go back into addiction, or just need somebody to talk to, there's always me, there's always Rhiannon, there's always each and every single one of you that actually are a part of the group and the panel and stuff. We're all there for one another. We are family inside. We can also be family out here, have that family support.
And that's the great thing, y'all, is that we're torn from our family and our kids and our friends and everybody. when we're inside those walls. We do build families, we build bonds and stuff like that. And I don't think it's fair that when we come out, probation and parole say, you know, like that. And so we lose our family again, you know, when we come out, you know. And the way that y'all put this together, it's great. I've loved seeing the pictures of the gals inside, and
Yeah.
I think about them, you know. I wonder what they ate, what they're doing, you know. And it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yep. Thank you.
It makes me so proud when people post the pictures because I'm like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, it's so cool, you know. And then there's some from CCA, old ones. Like when
Mhm.
I think like one of the things that I'll never get over is when I first went to CCA and it was the pictures. They were like real photo shoots, man. Like you were able to go for Halloween and you had this big old background and you could paint your face. Who
Yeah.
does that? You know, like I just remember how neat the pictures were at CCA, and I guess I could never get over the photos. So I'm so grateful to all the ladies that post, and I want to thank everybody because I think it's so great for us to be able to have a space to share and to be able to say, hey, like look at all of us, and we're still doing
Yep.
good, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's also
That's
a
great.
place for those women that are actually out there doing something and trying to make a difference out there. Like we're there to help one another. If they need help with anything like food donations, clothing donations, just even people to volunteer to help paint a fence or do some yard work, hey, this is the platform for that, for all of us
And no
to be there for
judgment.
one another.
And no judgment.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
I love that. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful to y'all. I am. I'm really grateful, and I thank you. Does anybody have anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm so grateful. Behind Bars in the 505 would like to thank Kimberly Jaramillo, aka my mom, and Sabrina Jaramillo, Tiny, my good friend, my sister wife.
Yeah, there you go.
Jules, my co-host.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys.
Thank you guys. I appreciate
bye,
it. We
guys.
love you
I'm
very,
gonna
very
Yeah.
much. Bye.
Tiny, love you. Stay up
Bye,
there.
Mom. I love you. You call
I love
me,
you guys.
Bye.
Bye,
You
Tiny.
call me. I don't have your number.
Okay, I will. I love you.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
I